Hey guys, welcome back to Marvel Madness. This time we're going to go back to Iron Man because they decided to make Iron Man 2 after Incredible Hulk. So, yeah. And this is a very, very odd sequel. What do you think?
I think it's a sequel. Why do you think it's an odd sequel?
There's a lot of things going on in the movie. There's, like, after rewatching it, I was like, man, there's a ton of different plot lines going on. Like, you have, like, Tony, who's dying with the arc reactor in his chest. And then you have like the government trying to get the Iron Man suit, but also Hammer Industries is trying to get the Iron Man suit. And also you have the Whiplash guy who wants to kill Tony. And then there's the whole thing with Pepper, and then there's very weird scenes where they kind of talk over each other a lot. I mean, they're kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. There's so much in this movie that it feels kind of cramped, I would say.
I didn't really get that impression. I mean, the whole idea is like there's definitely a bunch of players in the story,
Yeah,
and that's probably because this movie is taking parts of both two Iron Man stories in the comics. Demon in a Bottle, which I mentioned last time, because they do have
yeah,
elements of his alcoholism as he kind of
yeah.
tries to
Oh yeah,
deal
I
with
was gonna
his
mention
impending death.
that also, and also the thing with his dad,
Right,
and the whole Stark Expo going on with and then Nick Fury coming in, all that going on as well.
right,
So
because they have
there's a
to tie
lot
it
going
into
on.
Avengers, and then they also take parts like with War Machine and everyone trying to get Iron Man's armor is like a big deal in another Iron Man story called Armor Wars. So they kind of took
Mhm.
both of those and kind of meshed them together and made the second film. I think there is a lot of things going on in this movie, but I think thematically they're all tied together because in the first
Yeah,
film, he kind of makes this armor out of necessity and bows out of the weapons industry and kind of wants to distance himself from that and just do right by his own conscience. Whereas in this movie, he's actually you see that he's created this whole new class of weapons that everyone's trying to jump on, because foreign governments are trying to create Iron Man armors. The U.S. government wants to confiscate the Iron Man armors. Corporations like Justin Hammer's company wants to copy the Iron Man armors for personal profit. So it's just showing how, like, despite him not really calling it a weapon in the beginning, it really is. It
yeah.
totally is. And everyone is like, it's the same thing as any new big innovative product comes out. Everybody else jumps on it and tries to ride the coattails. And in this case, they're doing that with this new kind of like weaponized armor that Tony Stark unintentionally created. So I think there's a lot of players, but I think it kind of helps reinforce the fact that like Iron Man changed everything, you
Yeah.
know? And especially because he made it public that Tony Stark is Iron Man, it became not just some vigilante running around in a mask, but like a legitimate business opportunity. It was technology, and it could be monetized and weaponized that way. It's not some guy with superpowers, you know? So, and that aspect, I think that all the things going on all at the same time kind of helped emphasize the kind of like overwhelming, just like snowball effect of Iron Man as a technology
Yeah.
coming to the forefront. So I didn't have too much of a problem with that. I thought the whole dying thing though was kind of weird. I mean, I understand why, like what it was, but it just seemed like kind of a superfluous layer to have in the movie. I know they needed to have it tie back into his dad and have him
Yeah.
figure out how to create the new
And by
element.
the
And
way, I was gonna say his dad, Howard Stark, the sort of like presentation like film reel thing, it made it feel a lot like the old like Walt Disney
yeah, he
like
did. You
things.
definitely
Yeah.
get a Walt Disney vibe from him.
Yeah.
That kind of like the old cheesy, like this is the city of the future kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I think it was a really good presentation. It kind of gave us some separation in terms of like, yeah, this feels like older. And then we'll probably talk about it later, but it's cool how they bring Howard Stark into Captain America as well.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that continuity. Um,
And also Tony actually has like a broken up Captain America shield in his
yeah,
basement. So
Yeah, that was a fun little tease too, because you're just like, oh man, it's like the Captain America shield. He just uses it to prop up some of his gear. It's like,
Yeah, Agent Coulson's like, you know what this is?
yeah, just like whatever, just fucking, it's trash. I don't give a shit. Yeah, so they kind of examine. I mean, I said last time with Iron Man 1 that they didn't really ever examine Tony's alcoholism, but I guess in this movie they really do.
Yeah,
But
because he does like get shit faced drunk at one point, like right
right,
after the party.
I guess
Um,
my thing was that like it was more understandable because he was about to die. He's dealing with this like
yeah,
thing than just like he likes to drink and like that's like his vice. So I'll take it back. They did examine it in
yeah.
these movies. But it was just a part of it. What did you think of Whiplash, the character, the
Whiplash.
antagonist?
I don't really know. I mean, we didn't really have too many scenes with him. We had the little opening with him, with
Right.
his. I guess that was his father dying in the beginning.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So.
And that's like another thing that ties into like the central conflict of that like his father worked with Howard Stark and kind of got screwed out of the
Yeah.
deal and he's trying to get vengeance on him and all that stuff. And it's just kind of, skeletons in the closet and more baggage from the days of making weapons and things like that. And again, it's another layer of, Stark technology being misused or misappropriated. So all of the players do kind of work with the central theme. So it was dense, but I think it was dense by design and not dense because they didn't know what to cut. Because it does help generate this sensation of just being overwhelmed. Like if you were in that scenario, you had all these things going on at the same time, you'd
Yeah.
probably, on top of like you're fucking dying, you would probably start to deteriorate mentally as well. So in terms
Yeah.
of like creating the right atmosphere for the character to be like motivated to do the kind of not good things he did, I think that all worked well. There were some parts of the movie I thought maybe they were going too far with Tony Stark's like snarkiness because I think at that point like that's a huge selling point of Robert Downey Jr.'s performance that he is just kind of like sassy like that and they needed to put that in.
Yeah, he does that a lot in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it definitely needed to be there to an extent to counterpoint like just like the heavy nature of the story of him like being on the verge of dying and having to kind of and obviously he copes with situations like that by being a wise ass. Do we need all the quips? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it was a huge deal, but it was something there that just like
I like when like Hammer is they're all in Monaco and they're at the bar and like Hammer comes up and he's like my least favorite person in the world.
yeah, like it's subtle things like that are good. When they just kind of blatantly throw it in your face, less good.
Yeah.
Um, I liked how they added War Machine in here.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Oh,
And he looked
by the
really
way,
awesome.
different actor too this time. So it was
Right.
like like when we go back when we were talking about an Incredible Hulk where they weren't sure if they were going to have these actors come on, for multiple movies, so they didn't really sign on different contracts. But I guess
Right.
I'm not sure why. Like,
It's probably a money thing.
yeah,
It always is. That's why Edward Norton didn't come back too, right? He
yeah.
didn't
Well, I
really
think
want to
so.
do it.
But then after he saw how much the Avengers made, he's like, why did I not go on there?
Because you're dumb. Yeah. So that was cool. I liked him. Whiplash was an interesting character from a motivation standpoint because you could argue that he was justified. Like you could have made a film or a narrative from Whiplash's perspective and made it be an empathetic revenge story, which is kind of cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Because like we've had characters before, it's like, you've killed my father, prepare to die, and that's exactly what kind of went down with this dude to a degree, is that like his father was slighted by someone and he's going to seek revenge. So with the right context, he could have been like an anti-hero and not just a jackass. I thought it was kind of weak with him making his own like kind of Iron Man-esque armor at the end because we already got that with Ironmonger in the last movie and it felt like we're like going down the same path again.
Yeah, and that final battle with him went over way too quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we spent a little too much time fighting the drones and not enough time throwing down with him because he just kind of
Yeah.
shows up, they do the palm thingy,
Yeah,
and then he's done.
and why does he remove his helmet so much, like in that sequence?
Because the actor wanted his face to be there. I don't just want to be a CG robot, damn it. I want to be a part of this picture. They do that a lot. Like
Yeah.
some actors like really like that, and my face needs to be here constantly, you know?
Yeah, that's why superheroes never wear masks anymore.
Although, if you watched Dredd, fucking that movie was great because the guy who played
I still need to watch that.
The cool thing
Yeah.
is the guy who plays Judge Dredd that never takes his mask off through the entire film. Just like,
Wow.
no, Judge Dredd always wears his mask. I'm not taking it off. Like, I'm staying true to the character. That was a cool movie. That's not what we're talking about right now. Just quick aside. But yeah, I liked this film a lot. I don't think it was as good as the first one.
Yeah, no.
I think the density was good for the narrative, but I think in terms of like being able to focus solely on something, the first one was more successful in that regard. I liked how they tied it into Avengers. I always like when Samuel shows up in these because he's a cool dude. The scene of him like eating a donut in the donut thing as
Yeah.
Samuel bombs in on him, that was a cool scene, and just like them talking in a diner.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Black Widow is introduced in this movie.
Yep.
And I see a lot of people complain about her being like sort of the sexy, attractive woman in this movie, but she's only that for maybe 2 scenes, and then the rest of it, she's like after they go in and like try to find Whiplash, she's beating up on all these dudes while this other guy who was like the
Happy.
chauffeur, like it was just beating up this one guy.
One dude,
Yeah.
just to show that, like, you know, she might just be a person, but she's like wrecking train right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, when you have a character played by Scarlett Johansson, it's hard to be like, sex appeal was clearly a part of this fucking
like
decision.
I mean, it's Scarlett friggin' Johansson.
Yeah, like
there's sex appeal in her voice because she was only a voice in the movie Her, and yet people flock to that movie because of her voice.
I mean, I can understand that, but she's a good actor as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think her performances as Black Widow in this series has been very well done, especially in Winter Soldier, which we'll get to eventually.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I think anyone who thinks she's there just for eye candy is ignoring the performance that she's doing, and
Yeah.
I appreciate her presence more than just for my eyeballs.
All right. So I guess that's enough to talk about Iron Man 2. Next
It's
time,
good.
Yeah.
Go see it if you haven't, because
Yeah.
you have like a week and change left to get caught up.
Yeah. There's still like a week. Yeah.
It's May
What's the day?
1st.
Wednesday.
It's May 1st.
Yeah. It comes
So-
it comes out and a lot of theaters on the 30th though, like on 7 p.m.
That's
So-
what I'm gonna do because
Me
I'm
too.
leaving for the weekend, so I gotta go see it on Thursday.
Anyway, yeah. Next time we'll talk about Thor. So see you then. Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to take